Hello guys, so welcome to my channel. So in this video I am going to discuss about the thread life cycle and the thread states. So basically the thread has the following life cycle. So whenever a thread object is created, it will be in new state. Then whenever you call the start method, it will go to the runnable state. Then other states we have blocked state, waiting and timed waiting. Then after that, it after the waiting time is over, it becomes runnable. And once the run method is execution is completed, it will go to the terminated state. So every thread has to go through all these states, okay, before it is getting terminated. So let's understand what are these six states mean. So initially, whenever the state is new, a thread object has been created, but it has not started. As like whenever you write a thread t is equal to new thread, the object has been created, but it's not started. And the second state is runnable state. So whenever you call thread dot start method, the thread will be ready to run, or it's in currently running state. Then the third state is blocked state. So whenever the thread is waiting to acquire the lock, so it will be in blocked state. Basically, whenever a thread tries to execute the synchronized block and another thread has the lock, so then it will be in blocked state. Then comes to the waiting. So waiting is a state where it will wait indefinitely for another thread. So there is no fixed specific time in this waiting state. So as soon as unless and until it receives the notification from another thread, it will be waiting indefinitely. And then we have the timed waiting. So here the waiting time is specified, like we have a waiting time. Basically we will use it in threaded or sleep method. For example, if we write a threaded or sleep of 5000, and then the thread has to wait only for the 5 seconds. And once all the things are completed and when the run method execution is finished, the thread will be entered to the terminated state. So that is where the thread execution is complete. So you understood these six states. Now we will see all of these states with the help of some example. Okay. So basically the first state is new state. So you can see the code here. I am creating a thread 3t is equal to new thread, and I am providing the implementation for the run method. So here I have just created the thread and I have not started it. So that's why I can say that the thread will be in a new state. The next state is a runnable state. So whenever I call the t dot start method, then the thread enters into the runnable state. So the thread may be currently running or it is ready to run. Maybe like it's waiting for the thread scheduler to allocate the CPU or the memory. Okay. Then once the running state is over, then we go to blocked state. So for example, you can see there is a synchronized block. In order to execute this synchronized block, the thread has to acquire the lock of the synchronized block. Yeah, but if another thread has the lock, then the current thread has to wait until the another thread gives the lock. Okay, so that is what I have written here. If another thread already owns the lock, then the your thread enters into block state because it cannot do anything. It has to wait as until the another thread releases the lock. So that is where the thread enters into block state. And then we will be seeing the waiting state. So waiting state is something the thread wait until another thread tells to continue. For example, thread dot join method. Here the thread will wait until another thread completes its execution. That is where thread dot join, and also wait method will do. So you can see the code. Thread t is equal to new thread, and I am calling the t dot start method where a new thread will be created. After calling the t dot start method, I am calling the t dot join method. So as soon as I call the t dot join method, the main thread will be entered into waiting state. So and the main thread has to wait until the child thread, that is the thread t, completes its execution. So this is the waiting state. Then we have timed waiting. So timed waiting means what is the difference between waiting state and timed waiting means there the waiting has been indefinite, like we don't know the specific time when the thread pause its execution. Here in the timed waiting, the waiting time is known. Like for example, if you can see this code, thread.sleep of 5000 seconds, the thread will wait only for the 5 seconds, and after 5 seconds it will resume its execution. And also you can use a join of 3000, like 3 seconds, and wait of 5 seconds. So this is nothing but timed waiting. And after that, the final state is the final state the thread enters is terminated state. So this is the easiest state, because as soon as the run method execution finishes, the thread enters into terminated state, and also the thread dies. Okay, and you can see like a thread t is equal to new thread, and this is the print statement, that is the like run method what I have done. So once this execution is completed, then the thread will be terminated, and you can see the terminated thread cannot be restarted again. Okay, because of this, whenever you call t dot start and again t dot start, that is thread dot start method 2 times, you will get a illegal thread state exception, because once a thread is terminated, it cannot be restarted. That's why you are getting that exception. Okay, so now we will all the states we have learned so far. So we will see the life cycle of a thread. Okay, the same thing. So first we will create a thread. As soon as we create a thread, it will be new status, and whenever you call the start method, it will go to the runnable state. Okay, and from the runnable state, it can go to block status if it wants to execute a synchronized block. Till it acquires the lock, it will be in block status, and it may be in waiting status, like if it has to wait until completing the another thread whenever the thread has called join method. And another one is timed waiting, like thread.sleep you have seen. So once this is completed, then the thread will resume back to runnable state. Once the run method finishes, it will be entered to the terminated state. Okay, so this is the one of the summary table I have put over here to check like all the status, and when the state will start and when the state leaves. You can go through this table, like new when the new state will start, like when the thread object got created. When it will use means when the start method is called, because after calling the start method, the thread enters into runnable state. So likewise, I have defined for each and every state what is the trigger point and when that state will be converted to the other state. Okay, you can go through all of this. And let's see one program before going to the question and answers. So I just created a thread t is equal to new thread, and I have one print statement in that run method. So I am just calling thread dot get state. There is one get state method. So in order to get the current state of the thread, we will be using t dot get state. Then I am calling the start method in order to create a new thread, and I am calling the t dot get state method again. So let's run this code, and we will see what are the states. Initially, when the thread started, when we created a thread, it will be in a new state. After that, the thread, whenever we call this t dot start method, the thread will be entered to runnable state. And later, this start method will be responsible to execute this print statement, and it has print running. So this is one of the small example related to the thread states. So now we will see some of the interview questions, like what is the difference between waiting and timed waiting. So waiting state, like here we have the thread has to wait indefinitely, like join method. If you call join method, the another thread has to wait until this thread completes its execution. But if you want to see timed waiting, here the thread has to wait only for a specific duration. So if I call thread.sleep method of 5 seconds, it will wait only for the 5 seconds, like whether another thread completes its execution or not, it will not wait. Only for the 5 seconds it will wait, and it will resume its execution. And next, when does the thread enters the blocked status? Okay, when does means, for example, there is a synchronized block and the thread wants to execute this synchronized block. In order to execute this synchronized block, it has to acquire the thread of the, it has to acquire the lock of that block, right? Synchronized block or the method, but that lock is with another thread. So then the thread enters into blocked state. Okay, why? Because synchronized block, at a time only one thread can able to access. So these are the questions related to thread states. I think you have understood the thread life cycle and the thread states. So if you have any questions, please type it in the comment section, and thank you so much for watching.